It's Tuesday, March the 10th. I'm Todd Duplantis. Welcome to Up to the Minute. We've got a very special and important show for you today. As you all know, the coronavirus outbreak is a dynamic situation which is literally changing by the hour. HCC's primary concern is for the well-being for our students, our faculty, our staff, and the community itself. And we're committed to doing everything we can to protect the health of our community and to support each other as we go through this. To help share information, we're starting a new series of updates you'll see live here on Facebook Live and YouTube during this Up to the Minute report, and we'll be keeping you as a reminder for the latest information, including copies of these videos will always be accessible on our website after this broadcast, and of course on Facebook and YouTube as well. So we're going to get started today, and we've got Dr. Kurt Ewen, who is the Vice Chancellor of Strategy, Planning, and Institutional Effectiveness, and Dr. Shantay Grays, who's the Vice Chancellor of Student Services, both here at Houston Community College. Thank you for both being here today and keeping us up to date. I know things are changing. There's a lot of information we need to get out there, and there's certainly a lot of questions that people have. The first question that folks are coming in with is HCC considering moving courses online or shutting down the Institute for any period of time, similar to what Rice has done and what other institutions are starting to do?
So, Todd, again, thank you for the opportunity to be here today. Shantay and I look forward to these opportunities moving forward to be able to get the message out and to give people the opportunity to understand what we're trying to do and how we want to get there. The short answer to your question is yes, we're considering it. As part of our response, we've established an incident command team that's comprised of the college presidents, all the vice chancellors, and all of the key functional areas of the college to coordinate and to organize our work across the system. The Department of Students Instructional Services, is working with the college presidents, working with the deans across the institution to look at options. The reality is that what you're hearing in the news is a lot of information from universities. Universities are very different than we are. We have a very different student population, and our faculty are overwhelmingly part-time, right? And so wholesale transition to online becomes rather challenging. But we are looking at a range of options that include potentially moving courses to more of a hybrid model to limit the amount of time students are actually having to spend on campus. That's particularly important for our career and technical programs. If a student's in welding, it becomes really difficult to do welding online. If the student's in automotive, again. But the same thing is true is that community college students tend not to do as well online as some of their peers in other institutions for a variety of reasons. And so we want to make sure that whatever we do transition-wise helps them to be as successful as possible.
So it's the main thing, it's not as easy as one would think, hey, let's just switch over to online. This is a monumental task for any college or university.
This is a big task. We've got over 100,000 students that we serve each year. We serve those students at 22 locations across Greater Houston and have hundreds of programs. And so the alignment and the coordination across the system is challenging, and we've been at this already for a couple of weeks, working a lot of hours to develop a plan, and we're getting close to being able to implement at least the instructional side of the plan.
Dr. Grays, we're coming up on spring break, and a lot of folks have travel plans, and I guess the big question some students are asking, I may be traveling, is there anything I should do before I leave or upon my return?
Yes, so Todd, we are asking all students, faculty, and staff to be cognizant and aware of the CDC-issued travel warnings. There are specific countries and regions of even the domestic U.S. that have declared states of emergency, and we are obviously trying to ensure the safety of all of our faculty, staff, and students even during spring break. What I would suggest for students particularly, and we also have a form available for faculty and staff to report, share with us. We are encouraging you to go to the COVID-19 website and complete the student travel information form. That allows us to capture information about your plans for spring break. If you're planning to travel abroad, we would know exactly where you're located and your plan for return, and we'd have a member of our student services team connect with the students prior to returning to class to provide very specific instructions. So if we find out, because this situation is evolving, it's so fluid, if for some reason we find out that a student has traveled to a country or to a state or an area of the country that has been infected, then we want to provide very specific instructions on how to return to class and what that means in terms of self-quarantine,
Right.
and protecting themselves and their family members.
And if you're wondering about the COVID-19 website, it's very easy to find. You can go to hccs.edu on our homepage and click on the website. There's a banner on the homepage. You click on that. That'll take you to the site where you can get all this information as it's posted.
Todd, let me just say a little bit more about travel, because it also impacts faculty and staff.
Right.
So there's two parts of that to be aware of. One is that in terms of international travel, for college business, all of that has been stopped for the time being. As it relates to domestic travel that is work-related, we are following, again, as Dr. Grays indicated, we are following the CDC recommendations as to how we should handle that. We're evaluating each proposed trip on an individual basis, and people should continue to keep an eye on what the evolving standard is. So if 2 months ago you applied to go to a city in the United States that wasn't a problem then, but is a hotspot for contagion now, we're probably going to have a conversation with you. In the same way that we've asked students to self-report personal travel outside the United States, we're doing that for faculty and staff as they go on to spring break or any other personal travel they might want to make.
That's a good point to make, because a lot of folks do have travel plans, which
That's
they may have
right.
canceled or they could still have. So once again, go to our main page for more information. You can click on the link to the COVID-19 website. And if you have a question during this webcast, you can simply leave a comment below with your question. We'll answer those live on this webcast, or we can answer you directly or answer them in the next webcast. The next question, what if a student or employee at HCC tests positive for coronavirus, and what will HCC do?
So let's back up a little bit in terms of prevention, right? What we know is that this is spreads in ways very much like, at least initially, is spreading very much like the flu. And so the same precautions that we would ask anyone to take in terms of washing their hands. If you're not feeling well, you need to stay home. Whether you have the flu or the coronavirus,
Right.
the issue is the same. Get yourself out of the environment, take yourself out of a situation where you're interacting with lots of people. Trust me, I think you'll probably get looks if you're coughing in public anyways.
Oh, I know.
Right?
I've seen that at grocery stores, believe me.
That's right.
Yeah.
I think the other thing that we want to make sure is that people understand that we have enhanced our protocols with regards to cleaning.
Right.
Our facilities team is going into classrooms every day to make sure that they're clean, they're wiped down. High use areas is getting even more attention to make sure that we keep the place as clean as possible. If in the chance that there is somebody who contracts the disease, we're working on those scenarios now in terms of what would happen. The idea that one case would cause the college to shut down is probably not likely, but one case might involve the location where you're taking classes to be shut down, or where you work or teach. That would not necessarily be an indefinite closure, but would be for an extended period of time, maybe 2 weeks, which is the normal wait time to kind of allow for the virus to kind of work its way
Right.
through. So those are the kinds of things we're working on. I can tell you that, again, this is an evolving situation. The number of cases in the last couple of weeks since the start of March has increased across the country exponentially. The best thing everybody can do is keep an eye on the news, keep an eye on our website and the CDC to be up to date on what's happening so that they can be responsive.
And I will add, too, for students in particular, we know that there's been a heightened sense of awareness, right? And we want students to know that we are using these platforms through social media and particularly through email to contact them and to keep them alert and
Right.
updated. So we're encouraging students to take advantage of accessing their email even during spring break. We expect to have several communications that we'll provide to students, and that's the most feasible and logical way for us to keep our students engaged and connected in terms of providing information. information.
And you bring up a good point, because one thing, if you are a student or even if you're faculty or staff, make sure you go into PeopleSoft and update your phone number. That's a big thing of importance, because if we need to get hold of you, we'll send out text messages. And if we have an old, 3-year-old phone number that's no good,
Right.
it's not going to do us or you any good. So make sure you update with the most current cell phone number as your primary number in PeopleSoft. That way we can get a hold of them and we could text them, we could email you. Just make sure those things are completed.
Yeah, and one quick note too I want to share. We've sent a survey out to students today from the Student Services Department to just inquire about internet access and access to laptops or equipment.
Right.
Should we make the decision to either close a location or move some of our courses online? So we are asking our students to be responsive to that. It is our way of identifying needs and assessing the gaps so that we can develop a plan for supporting students should we have the need to move to that type of environment.
That's a good point. If you get those emails from us at HCC, please don't ignore them, especially at this time. Open them up and, in this case, respond, because you need that data.
Correct.
So make sure.
In terms of faculty and staff, and as we move forward, it is possible that some employees may be asked to do remote work, work from home or from other locations that don't involve coming to the college. There's a new regulation that's been passed that's on my HCC site that is under coronavirus, and they can go there. There's a wealth of information, FAQs for faculty and staff, and other kinds of items. That survey that we're doing with students, supervisors will be conducting with their direct reports to get some sense as to what kind of availability do people have in terms of internet access, computer, all of those kinds of things, so that we're prepared in the event that we need to shut down temporarily.
We, and this may go back to your question as well, because there's one question here asking about what if a student or faculty member does not have access to an internet connection at home? And we need to know that, and that will go back to the data that you're sending or you're trying to gather right now.
Absolutely. It helps us determine from an IT perspective
Right.
if we have the infrastructure and the capacity to support both our faculty and staff, but as well as our students. We need to be able to determine exactly what resources will be required to ensure our students can successfully complete the semester or their courses or transition to an online learning environment.
Okay. Dr. Ewen, did you have anything else to add?
All I want to say is, again, thank you for this opportunity.
Yeah.
What I can tell you is that over the next couple of weeks, as this case evolves or this situation evolves, we're going to be coming here regularly with updates. We'll be bringing other colleagues with us to kind of fill you in on things dealing with instruction or facilities or procurement or other kinds of items that are particular of importance at this time. If you have questions, make sure you ask. If you're not feeling well, stay at home, wash your hands, and we'll get through this.
We will. And one thing to keep in mind, being that this is a live webcast, it's interactive. So as Dr. Ewen mentioned, if you have a question, comment below. If we don't get to it today, we'll direct message you, or we will answer the question in our next live web chat. Thank you for joining us here today.
Thank you.
We
Thank
look
you.
forward to having both of you here on again in the future. And thank you for joining us on Up to the Minute. We'll see you live on Facebook and YouTube tomorrow, and you can catch the recorded versions of this broadcast on our website as well. I'm Todd Duplantis, and you're Up to the Minute.